Male honeybee. Male honeybees, also called drones, are born with one main role in the colony: to mate with the queen. They don't collect nectar, build wax, guard the hive, or care for the young. During the mating season, drones fly out, gathering open areas where queens pass during their mating flights. If a drone reaches a queen and mates successfully, his life ends almost immediately. Part of his reproductive organ breaks away and stays inside the queen, which causes a fatal injury. He falls away from her body and dies soon after. In the life of a honeybee drone, first six is not just a major moment, it is the final purpose his body was actually built for. Male redback spider. The male redback spider is one of the most famous examples of dangerous six in nature. This spider comes from Australia, and the female is much larger and stronger than the male. During mating, the male often twists his body towards the female's mouth parts. In many cases, the female eats him while mating is still happening. At first, of course, this looks like a terrible mistake, but it can actually improve the male's chance of passing on his genes. By staying in place longer, he may transfer more sperm and the female may be less likely to mate again soon after. For the male redback spider, six can become both reproduction and sacrifice at the same time. Male dark fishing spider. The dark fishing spider lives in North America, often around wooded areas, rocks, tree trunks, and very quiet outdoor places. Its mating behavior is unusual because the male doesn't always die from being eaten. After mating, his body suddenly curls up. He becomes motionless, and he dies soon after. The female may later eat him, but his death begins inside his own body. Scientists have described this as a kind of programmed death after reproduction. The male usually gets only one chance to mate, and that single chance ends his adult life. This makes the dark fishing spider different from many other spiders, because death is not only a danger from the female, it is part of the male's reproductive biology. Male praying mantis. The praying mantis is known around the world for its strange and sometimes brutal mating behavior. In some species, the female may bite off the male's heads during or after sex. This does not happen every time, and it depends on hunger, species, and the situation around them. But when it does happen, the male may still continue mating for a short time because parts of the nervous system can keep the body actually moving. For the female, eating the male gives extra nutrients that can help her produce eggs. For the male, the risk is high, but mating may still be worth it in evolutionary terms. His body may disappear, but his genes continue into the next generation. Male Antechinus. The Antechinus is a small marsupial from Australia, and at first glance it can look like an ordinary mouse, but its breeding season is one of the most extreme in the mammal world. Males don't usually die seconds after one act of sex, but many die after the first and only mating season. During that period, they mate for very long hours and spend nearly all their energy searching for females. The body is flooded with stress hormones that stay at dangerous levels. Over time, their immune system weakens, their organs suffer, and their bodies begin to break down. Many males die from exhaustion, infection, or internal damage. For them, reproduction is so intense that survival afterward becomes almost impossible. Male Kaluta. The Kaluta is another small Australian marsupial, mostly found in dry regions of Western Australia. It's a pretty fast, secretive animal that hunts insects and other small prey. But its breeding season changes everything. Male Kalutas go through an intense period of competition, movement, and mating. The bodies spend a huge amount of energy in a short burst of time, and after the first breeding season, many males die. This pattern is specifically interesting because it happens in a harsh desert environment, where energy is already difficult to save. The male body seems built for a short reproductive mission rather than a long adult life. Once that mission's complete, many males do not recover. Pacific salmon. Pacific salmon begins life in freshwater rivers. travel to the ocean, grow there for years, and then return to the same river systems to reproduce. The final journey is very exhausting. They swim against very powerful currents, avoiding predators, jumping over obstacles, and often stop feeding as their bodies focus completely on spawning. When they reach the breeding grounds, females lay eggs and males fertilize them. After that, their bodies quickly fall apart. Their skin changes, wounds appear, energy disappears, and they die within days or weeks. Pacific salmon are a classic example of an animal that reproduces once and then dies. Their death, of course, also feeds the ecosystem, returning nutrients from the ocean back into rivers and forests. Octopus. Most octopuses live short but highly active lives, and reproduction marks the beginning of the end. Male octopuses often die not long after mating, while females usually survive long enough to protect their eggs. A female may stay with her eggs for weeks or months, cleaning them, moving fresh water over them, and guarding them from danger. During this time, she usually stops eating. Her body weakens as the eggs develop, and once the young hatch, she dies soon after. Scientists have connected this decline to changes controlled by the optic gland, an organ involved in reproduction and aging. In octopuses, sex doesn't simply continue the species, it also starts the final stage of life. Mayfly. The mayfly, on the other hand, is famous for having one of the shortest adult lives in the animal kingdom. It spends most of its life underwater as a young insect, sometimes for months or even years. But when it becomes a winged adult, its body is no longer built for a long future. Many adult mayflies do not even have working mouth parts, so they cannot eat. Their adult stage is mainly for mating and laying eggs. In some species, this stage lasts only a few hours. After sex and reproduction, they die very quickly. The mayfly shows an extreme version of the life cycle focused just on the final purpose. The adult body appears very briefly, reproduces, and disappears. Male Argonaut octopus. The male Argonaut is a tiny relative of the octopus, and it is in fact much smaller than the female. Argonauts live in open ocean waters, where the female carries a thin, shell-like case for her eggs. The male has a very unusual way of mating. He produces a special arm called a hectocotylus, which carries sperm. During sex, this arm detaches from his body and enters the female. After that, the male usually dies. The female continues a reproductive life, but the male's role is pretty short and final. What makes the Argonaut so strange is the extreme difference between male and female survival. For the male, one successful mating can be the end of his entire life. Labert's chameleon. Laber's chameleon lives in Madagascar, and it's known once again one of the shortest life cycles among four-legged animals. For much of the year, this chameleon exists as an egg buried in the ground. When the young hatch, they grow very quickly, reach adulthood, mate, and lay eggs within a very short period. After the first breeding season, the adult generation dies. This doesn't mean every individual dies seconds after sex, but reproduction marks the end of their adult lives. Their life cycle is basically shaped by Madagascar's seasonal environment, where timing matters a lot. Instead of living for many breeding seasons, Labert's chameleon puts everything into one fast cycle of growth, mating, egg-laying, and death. European eel. The European eel has one of the most mysterious reproductive journeys in the animal world. It grows in rivers and lakes across Europe, sometimes living for many years before beginning its final migration. When the time comes to reproduce, adult eels travel thousands of kilometers toward the Sargasso Sea in the Atlantic Ocean. During this specific journey, they stop feeding and use stored energy to continue swimming. After spawning, they're believed to die, ending a life that may have actually lasted for decades. Unlike animals that reproduce again and again, this European eel saves its final energy for one distant breeding event. Its death is part of a very long hidden cycle that scientists are still trying to fully even understand.